I'm in control.
In the age of Instagram, there are millions and millions of bicep curl exercise and bicep curl variations out there. Not all of those are exercises that you definitely need in your workout. What we're doing today, we're bringing you the top 5 best biceps moves for building that biceps muscle. How do we go about that, Don Saladino? So many options.
Well, I mean, I've always liked to go with my really heavy movement, right? Where we're actually developing strength and density. Okay, then there's other movements that we can go into that's gonna create a little bit more detail. We're not gonna be able to go as heavy, focusing a little bit more on tension. And while we're changing up these movements, I like changing that, challenging that shoulder in a little bit of a different position, because I like to make sure that the movements I'm doing, I'm getting a lot of bang for my buck on. And I know you feel the exact same way. How do we challenge the body in different planes, and how do we get the most out of our training?
So let's get to our top 5 exercises.
We're gonna start that first movement with an easy bar spider curl. Love this movement. Love how I have to even stabilize with my shoulder a bit, right? So I can't allow my shoulder to raise. I don't want to turn this into a front raise. So all I'm doing right now is I'm gonna keep my shoulders in this hang position, and I'm just basically gonna curl the bar up to the bridge of my nose, going into full extension. So notice how I'm not, I think a big mistake here is when we start really lifting our arms up to our forehead, then we start getting a lot of front deltoid. But really simply, just going into my set, where this is a complete isolation, I'm already feeling this.
Exactly, and what really makes the spider curl work is, again, how we're interacting at the shoulder joint. So a lot of what happens when we do our standard biceps curls is your elbows roll forward a little bit. We've started with our elbows rolled forward, so that prevents our shoulders from getting extremely involved. It makes this a really, really great isolation curl. This is a great curl for really squeezing your biceps. 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps on this one, right?
Yeah,
this is definitely
I like the reps a little bit higher here. I feel it a little bit more than some of the movements that we're gonna introduce later on.
Exactly, and one of the really great things with the easy bar is, one, it's really comfortable on your wrist, but you still get to twist a little bit. That active supination is a secondary function of our biceps, and we get to really knock that out and focus it as we do it with the easy curl.
Yeah, I'm glad he brought that up, because I am really trying to almost crush that handle a little bit. Almost getting a little bit of that rotation out of the palm of your hand. You're almost fighting against something that you're not gonna bend, right? It's incredible the return that you can get off of just one set of those.
Yeah, and again, the easy bar, great move when you're going to the spider curl.
Love it. Exercise number 4 is a standing one-arm cable curl. And I like taking this one at shoulder height. Now, I love this one because this is actually putting that shoulder into somewhat of an externally rotated position where I'm able to train in a little bit of a stretch position. And I'm able to really focus on one arm at a time, unilaterally getting that good flex. Now, my entire life, I'm always much more dominant in flexing my right arm, and I feel like I can connect more with my right arm. So this is giving me the ability to connect a little bit more with my weaker arm. And as I've been practicing this exercise more and more and more, I feel like my bicep development has improved. And I feel like there's a lot of bang for your buck out of the benefit that you're receiving in the shoulder as well. So Ev's doing a perfect job in really rotating that left hand. He's almost trying to rotate that pinky towards me a bit. And it's something where early on, you may not be feeling much, but by rep, 6, 7, 8, you're like, okay, this is getting real now, right?
Mind muscle connection on biceps exercises is so important. And an exercise like this, you might not feel it instantly. You might not feel it the first 5 times you do it in a workout. But what it's forcing me to do, one, it's forcing me to really think about squeezing my biceps, and I have to really build that connection from an angle that I'm not used to. And 2, I think this is that traditional biceps pose that I'm in right now, where I'm in that flex position. It's teaching me basically how to pose, how to squeeze my biceps, how to get those biceps to look good the way I want them to when I'm in that pose position.
And posing is something that you'll hear a lot of, it's very underrated. You'll hear a lot of these fitness competitors, they'll spend time posing because that can actually help increase the hardness and the density of the muscle. So this is a movement that I love, Eb and I agree that we will be doing this more for your 10s, 12s, and 15s. Never less than 10 reps, I think might be the lowest I ever take this exercise.
The strength you build in this shoulder, the strength stability-wise that you're building in this shoulder is gonna carry over to all the other exercises we're doing on the list, so that's why it checks in at number 4.
Love it.
Number 3 on our list, it's something called the incline curl. And what's really great about this move is, again, we're changing that upper arm angle relative to torso, and we're getting a little bit more stretch on that biceps tendon. You get to work through a slightly different range of motion. All Don's trying to do here is, again, keep his upper arms perpendicular to the ground. Keep that behind his torso. You don't need a whole ton of incline to do this. This incline bench is high, and then he gets a really, really good squeeze on his biceps as well, which is what I really, really love about this exercise, right?
Yeah, I just love being in this fully stretched position. I love getting into full extension. I recognize when the weight gets heavy and I start bringing my elbows up, not really what I want to be focusing on with this exercise. So my job is to keep those arms in just a straight line. And from there, it's just flexion and then extension. It's that easy. I'm getting no movement out of my shoulders, and my biceps feel like they're gonna explode already.
Exactly. This is the last of our exercises where we really are focusing on squeeze on our biceps, where you kind of get that pump. You've got to keep in mind, you have to go heavy and you have to go hard on your biceps exercises. You still got to load, and that's what we're gonna hit on our next two moves.
You were just doing 40s. You want 50s?
Just to show you I can lift them.
All right, number 2 on our list, we're gonna get into something called a hammer curl. One of my all-time favorite bicep movements, because we're incorporating so much in the forearm and that bicep brachialis. So this is a lift that we like to go a bit heavier on. So Eb right now is gonna show us how we curl the 40s very easily. He can either do them alternating or we can go 2 at a time. I think these movements here, Eb and I will typically, our rep ranges start dropping a bit. Like with all the other exercises where we might be above 8, right? Maybe 8 to that 15 range. Now I think we start getting into those 6s and getting into those 8s a little bit. Notice how Eb's standing up, so he's got to stabilize a lot more with his core, and just incredible tempo here and incredible technique. And noticing, not cheating, but as this weight gets a bit heavier, we got to do what we have to do to get the weight up, but get it up safely. And I never want to turn around and see someone with, a hammer curl where they're swinging, getting into our back. But if it gets heavy enough to where we have to maybe cheat out a rep by getting just a tad bit of momentum, I'm not upset about that.
What you get on these last two exercises and what you need to get out of your workout, what you need to get out of this training is going a little bit heavier, but also like you get this awesome framework. My abs are working, my glutes are working when I'm doing this hammer curl.
I've been a coach for close to 25 years now. We always hear this term functional training, and it's like suddenly arms don't receive this list as being functional, and they are functional. They are a muscle group that's gonna contribute to all of our pulling. If our biceps are a bit stronger, they're going to have a lot of functionality to it. I was laughing once because one of my instructors from years ago said, anyone who says bicep curls aren't functional, tell that to a mom who's pulling their baby out of the crib. So there is a lot of functionality to the bicep. I think this should still be treated as a body part that we need to get a bit stronger, and I believe that that's probably one of the areas that are overlooked the most with these isolated movements that we're doing.
When we start to go heavier, when we start to kind of think of functional strength when we're training biceps, the great thing about all these curls is I'm moving a heavy load, even though I'm trying to make it look light, but I'm moving a heavy load, and so I get to really focus on the negative here. I get to drive it up. Even if I cheat a little bit, even if I get that cheat near the end, like Don said, I still have to work to really own the eccentric on that.
Let me see that for 1 second, if you don't mind. I'm gonna grab those. I like trying to stabilize with my body, and then I'm going into my full curl. Now, if it gets a little bit difficult, you are gonna notice with that last rep or two, I might be getting a very safe hitch, which is a great way for me to be able to get the weight up and then go into a very slow eccentric.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be afraid to go heavy. That is exercise number 2. We've got one more coming at you. So for the number 1 exercise on our list for biceps curls, we are going old school, classic. Again, it's all about going heavy. The best exercise out there to go heavy, still create some tension in our biceps, and still get that really good squeeze, and a couple other benefits, is the barbell curl.
I gotta be honest. I mean, this is where I see a lot of young trainees. They're almost avoiding this movement, and they're going to machines, and they're going to dumbbells, and I love that stuff. But some of the best physiques on the planet, some of the best arms on the planet, they came from this exercise here.
Exactly. And they're coming from this exercise because the one thing you can really do here that you can't do on any other biceps exercise is you can go incredibly heavy. So Don's got 95 pounds on here. We get a little bit of rock in here. That's okay. What he's really focusing on, he's gonna let his elbows translate forward a little bit, but he's focusing on curling that weight up, getting a good squeeze. That pause at the top is key. And then he lowers down, and again, we're lifting heavy, but he gets to fight that weight on the way down. He's not necessarily thinking about a slow eccentric, but he's still getting a really good eccentric contraction on his biceps. So that takes work. That was what, like 8 to 10 reps?
That was 8 reps, and I will never really exceed 8 reps if I'm starting out with this movement. 8 is the max. Sometimes You might even see me get down to as low as 4s and 5s. Yeah. I mean, developing that level of strength is going to allow me to be able to push the other movements a bit heavier. We want to get stronger. We want to develop that level of density in the muscle. And I just feel like that if we're always going high rep, high rep, high rep, we're not really going to build that size and strength that we need.
Exactly. If you're always going high rep, high rep, high rep, the thing that happens is you build a lot of pump, you don't build a lot of strength, you don't build a lot of power. You come here, this is your great reminder on the barbell curl to, like Don said, get into the 4s and 6s. You don't need to do 10 reps every single time. Go heavy and you push that load, and what happens is you take that strength, and then when you go back to curls 5, 4, and 3 on our list, you're gonna be that much stronger on your spider, on your cable.
You're also gonna get lit up a lot quicker, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you and I have seen this, we start with that heavy lift, and sometimes your question, you're like, yeah, not really feeling it. And then you go to that third or fourth lift that we were talking about today, and your arms just blow up, and you just get so much lactic acid build in the muscle and so much blood, and you just get this incredible pump. And some of the best arm workouts I've ever had in my life is by starting with that first really heavy lift.
Exactly. So the big lesson from this, don't chase pump, and that's why our #1 exercise is all about going heavy. Hit your biceps curls, hit your barbell biceps curls. That's how you win for biceps. It's going to get you the size and strength you want.